Hello, Anik. Welcome to the interview for VIT today. It's
Hey
a pleasure
Varshit,
to have
thanks
you.
for having me.
Yeah. So, Anik, a lot of questions that students in engineering have is like, there's a stigma going around that IIMs aren't choosing engineering background students. So, what do you think that's true, or like, is it okay?
No, I really don't think so. I mean, a lot of my batchmates were engineers. So, I mean, engineering and MBA is the tried and tested route, in quotes. But yeah, there is a push to have a more diverse background,
Okay.
which means having more chartered accountants, having more commerce grads,
Mm-hmm.
having more law graduates, art graduates, etc. on board. But really, I don't see that people will prefer non-engineers more.
Mm-hmm.
I think few of the campuses, and it's a long time back, so I don't exactly remember the criteria, but a few campuses they give extra points, I think, for non-engineers, or they
Okay.
kind of prefer. But I really don't think it's such a big deal. I mean, if you really want to do it, you will. So like it's not a bar, as in if you are an engineer, you'll be somehow disadvantaged. I don't think so.
Okay, and so obviously getting into IIMs, we have to write the exam called CAT. So what
Yeah.
could you suggest is the best time to start preparing for it?
Um. Okay. Yeah. So I'll tell you what I did,
Okay,
and I'll
please.
tell you what worked and what didn't.
Hmm.
Right. So I was very sure that when I had so just to give you a backstory, I was never inclined towards engineering as such. So I had planned to actually go for the BBA plus MBA course of IIM Indore. They had an IPM course, right? Which
Okay.
is a 5 year. It's a 3 year BBA plus a 2 year MBA. And I
Hmm.
had tried for that, and I had gotten shortlisted for the interviews, etc. But I didn't clear it. Right, and this was before I joined VIT. So I was kind of, and I like the curriculum, etc. So I was kind of clear that ultimately I want to do an MBA. So I think I started some prep at the end of third year,
Okay.
so that I aim to give the CAT in my fourth year and directly join. But I think what is very important is to have your motivation very clear, because if you kind of if you're not fully motivated and you don't have that end goal in sight, right, and you're just preparing for the sake of it, then it's not really effective, right?
Okay.
So my preparation wasn't that effective. I had enrolled in time, and I used to go for a few of the sessions, didn't like them, didn't find it very useful, so stopped going after a point in time. Gave a
Hmm.
few mocks, so it was very haphazard, to say so. I devoted a lot of time, but it wasn't very efficient, right? So I was just putting in the hours for the sake of it, right?
Okay.
I didn't have a clear strategy in mind, etc. So my first attempt at the end of fourth year, I got I think a 99.15. I got calls from, I think, all the IIMs apart from A and C, but I wasn't able to clear it. I converted XLRI, I converted SPGen, but I couldn't convert any of the IIMs, right? And in
Okay.
my mind, I was like, this is something which I've done without a very sharp focus, right? So I've done it with like a 50-60% effort, and without any proper streamlined end goal in mind. So I just figured, why not give it another attempt, and like with a proper plan in place, right? So I had a job offer, so I wasn't quite of so I wasn't it wasn't like I have to join now, right? So I didn't have to join XLRI that then and there.
Hmm.
So yeah, so the point which I'm driving to here is, keep aside 3-4 months, be very proactive in what you want, and ultimately drive towards that. So I'm saying it will be a short sprint, but it will be very intense. But this way you'll kind of ensure that you can clear CAT. So for me, it was like 5-6 months of intense preparation while I was working. I think
Okay.
that worked for me.
So CAT also has three sections, right? Like there is quantitative aptitude, verbal, and
Yeah.
reasoning as well. So
Yeah.
do you have any suggestion as to what should have like more amount of preparation, or is it like on an individual basis?
I think it varies from person to person. So personally, and from now on, I'll only talk about my second attempt, right? So
Okay,
because that
yeah.
was the
Hmm.
attempt where I cleared. So I realized very early on that I was strong at VA at the verbal part because I used to read a lot of newspapers,
Hmm.
uh, and that was my sole preparation for VARC, right? And so I was very confident with that section. I didn't have like issues. The issue where I used to like the part where I used to have some problem was QA and DILR,
Hmm.
and mainly because it's not the toughness of the questions, it's about the quantity of the questions which you can solve, right? So I always used to solve 15 questions with super high accuracy, but that gives you a good score. That doesn't give you a great score, right? To get a great score, you need to attend 80-90% of the questions, and I think maximizing those attempts was like took some doing, right? Took some effort, and I think that is where I struggled with a bit initially, but I think that like that helps you. So ultimately, there's not a very generic answer for everyone, as in VRC will take you this much time, DILR will take you this much time. So for few people, quant is easy. For a few people, English is very tough. So it needs to be tailored to whatever you need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Okay, and let's say a person has cleared CAT with a very good percentile. Let's say he's cleared the
Yeah.
CAT with 99.6. So, will that person have a shot at the IIMs without any work experience? Because, engineering students, it's really hard to find jobs right now.
Yeah. See, to be very honest, it depends on the criteria. So
Hmm.
it's not just your CAT score, right? So it's your class 10 score, it's your class 12 score, it's your CGPA in college, and it's your profile in general. Okay. So for engineers, I would say it's a bit tough, because so it depends, right? So for example, I'll just give you how. So what I was saying is basically different colleges have different requirements,
Yeah.
and I'll just give you a sense of what different colleges look at. And just a caveat here is all of this is basis 2017, right? When I gave my so the feeling which I got was IIM Indore looks a lot, gives a lot of weightage to your class 10 scores.
Hmm.
And if you don't have a great score in your boards, it's very tough for you to get a shortlist,
Yeah.
unless you have an amazing CAT score, right?
Hmm.
IIM Bangalore gives a lot of weightage to your class 10, class 12, your CGPA, and your work experience rather than your CAT score. So even if you
Hmm.
have a lower CAT score, even in your 98 percentiles, if you have all of the above, like all of the previous things going for you, then you'll get a shortlist. IIM Ahmedabad gives a lot of weightage on your CAT score, to your CAT score.
Hmm.
So, like, even with a 99.7, even with a 99.8, you might not be, it depends, right? So, your CAT score needs to be very high. So, with a 99.6, you probably won't get a shortlist. Even with a high CAT score. So ultimately, the point which I'm driving at is your class 10, your class 12, your CGPA, your past profile, all of this matters, right? So, and all of these colleges change their admission criteria, like tweak their admission criteria every year. Okay.
All right.
So the only thing which is in your control as a student is basically to maximize your CAT score. I mean, because everything else has already been done, right?
Hmm.
And you can probably focus on improving your CGPA to whatever extent you can. Apart from that, everything is done. So, like, my advice would be to focus on what you can control, and then just wait for the calls.
So, according to you, like, what would be the minimum criteria? Like, okay, if I have this much, I do have a very good shot, like 10, 12 CGP, etc.
So I would say a 999, like a
Hmm.
990 plus in 10, 90 plus in 12, 9 plus CGPA, and a 99.6 or a 99.7 plus
Okay, that will
in
give
your
you a very
CAT.
good shot at
That
IIM.
would give you a very good shot, yeah. So
All
I
right.
mean, like that's the safest, per se. So
Okay. Hmm. Uh, So let's come to the interview part of the like getting into IIMs. Like what I have read is that there's a lot of weightage to that aspect as well. So
Yeah.
can you walk us through the process as to how the interview is and like what a person should do in order to prepare for it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was lucky in that aspect. So I had a great mentor who I could reach out to, who coached me with the entire interview process, and like I was lucky in that aspect. But so ultimately, you can't actually predict what these what the interviewers look for, right? So they can ask you, you know, anything and everything under the sun. So it might be a generic conversation about life, about what's your hobby, right? And there's a lot of material out there on the internet, like where, you know, there's an entire discussion on Harry Potter, and who and which is the character you identify with, right? So it can be something like that. My interview was a complete grilling. A lot of my interviews, in fact, were a complete grilling on ITC, because I used to work at ITC, right?
Okay.
And there was a lot of questions on, you know, how do you sleep at night? You're selling cigarettes. I mean, you are unethical. You earn money by, you
Mhm.
know, doing unethical stuff. So you know, there's a mix of questions. So like, you can't quite expect that somebody would, you know, grill you on this, that why have you made the choices that you have made.
Mhm.
But ultimately, I think what they're trying to see is if you will be a fit, if you are a good person in the sense, are you fun to be around, uh, like are you jovial, like in spite of all the pressure they put you in, are you able to calmly answer those questions rather than losing your mind and you know, going berserk. So I think
Mhm.
that is the things those are the things which they're looking at. They're also looking to you know, understand your aptitude. So for
Mhm.
example, uh, and this is what I've heard, I'm not sure, but if you have lower quant scores, they'll probably try to test you on that, and they'll probably try to check if, you know, that was a fluke, or, you know, are you really weak,
Okay.
so stuff like that, right?
All right. So what you're trying to say is like just be yourself during the interview. Like you really can't control it.
Not completely. I mean, you can always learn how to be more tactical, learn how to, like, you know, portray stuff tactfully rather than, you know, blurting out the truth. So for
Okay.
example, half
Mhm.
truths, how do you say it in a how do you say regular stuff in a more palatable manner.
Mhm.
uh, for example, I mean, they might ask you, right, that why are you doing an MBA post engineering, and you might have
Mhm.
hated engineering, right? The obvious answer for you would be, sir, I hated engineering, and engineering is not what I wanted to do. But that is not something you would probably tell them. You might probably, you know, want to phrase it in such a manner that, while I liked the experience, I learned a lot of stuff. I think my true calling is out there in the world of business rather than in a very technical role, which where I don't see myself in a long career, right? So
Okay.
you might probably want to tweak that answer a bit rather than blurting
Mhm.
out the whole truth. So that's
All
the
right.
point I'm driving towards.
So basically, just present yourself in a much better way and like, all right.
Exactly.
Now, as you said, a student should have a 9-9 line, which is 10, 12, and college, right?
No, a
So,
student shouldn't have that. I mean, that's beyond your control. So, I
yeah,
mean, a
no.
lot of people I know in college don't have that, but they've still
Hmm.
made it there.
So,
So,
like, they can still go there, right? Because a lot of my friends, like,
yeah.
they're worried because they don't have that, the 9 criteria. Do they have a fair shot at least?
See, I can't guarantee that you have a fair shot. What I
Hmm.
can, and see, this is what I strongly believe in, is that you
Hmm.
should only focus on the things you can control, right?
Hmm.
So in any world, your friends would not, like, if I would tell them that you don't have a fair shot. So,
Hmm.
right. So, does that mean that your friend wouldn't give cat? Your friend should give cat. Your
Okay.
friend should try his best to get the best score possible, and then leave it up to these colleges to call you or not, right?
Hmm.
So so focus on what you can control, and don't focus on the rest, right? The rest is just jibber jabber. So focus on
Okay.
what you can control, and then wait for the calls, right?
Okay. Uh, as a VIT student, do you suggest us to do something? Or like just as you said
See,
before, focus on cat?
I'm I mean, I would. Okay. So when I joined IM, I was, to be honest, I was a bit intimidated, right? That like a lot of the people I know are from IITs. A lot of the people are CA rank holders. Would I be able to cope with it?
Mhm.
And then I realized that, and you might also, deep down in your mind, you might think that probably, the professors, the folks who took my interviews, they made a mistake, right? I don't belong here.
Mhm.
But you'll kind of realize that no, they haven't made a mistake. They don't make mistakes, right? And they grill you on a number of things, right?
Mhm.
It's a very conscious choice that they've made to take you. So you do belong there. So,
Mhm.
right. So firstly is to shore up your confidence and believe in the fact that you are not inferior, or you shouldn't have that thought process in your mind. Firstly, right. Secondly, I would strongly urge anybody, at least, and I'm talking from a VIT point of view, is to build a more holistic profile. So, for example, at least from my time there were, like, you have a lot of people in your batch, right? And there used to be this group of people who used to be motivated, who used to fight, push for grades, push for other stuff, like not just grades, like do a lot of stuff. So I was the vice captain of the football team, right?
Mhm.
And football was a very active part of my life, and like I've played for the entire 4 years, right? From the first year I was in the university team, and we won, I think, a lot of trophies, right? So that was a very important part of who I was. So it's very important to, firstly is to focus in your grades. Secondly is to have the right group of friends who push you, motivate you. Third is to build a holistic profile. Okay,
Okay.
not just your grades, not just
Mhm.
something else, but a mix of everything, right? Build a holistic profile. And I think that, like, these three, if you do these three things correctly, you'll be there, like you'll reach where you want to, right? So
Okay.
that is the point which I'm driving towards.
All right. My next question would to you would be like it's an MBA in general. So a lot of people have a question that should I get into an MBA college without work experience, or should I have some work experience? Like having work experience prior to doing an MBA, does it matter like in terms of like after finishing the course as well?
See, that's a tough question. In terms of pure maths,
Mhm.
in terms of just a pure uh, cost benefit analysis, pre MBA work does not help you, because uh, you'll the chances of you getting a good job, a higher salary at a lower age, like, the chances of you getting it at a lower age is higher if you don't do a job before. So I'm 26 now, and I've joined Bain now. I know a few of my batchmates who are 23, who have graduated from SRCC, etc., who had a 3-year course, and they directly joined IIM Ahmedabad, and they are now 23, who have also joined Bain or McKinsey or some other companies, right? So your earning potential is way higher, like
Mhm.
you're saving 3 years, right? That is the cost benefit way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is to take a larger perspective, and to also look at, and also to identify what you want to do. Because, to be very honest, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I still don't, right? And I just felt that all of these experiences which you put yourself in, I think that helps you to kind of figure out what you want to do. So, for example, at the end of college, I could have joined MBA. In fact, I had like one or two admits, but I wasn't really sure that ultimately karna hai, nahi karna hai. I don't know, right? So I
Mhm.
joined ITC. I realized then that the work I am doing is not technical as such. Okay,
Mhm.
so I was doing a lot of, I was in procurement, so I wasn't technically using any of my mechanical skills, right? It was a
Mhm.
lot of talking to different customers. It was a lot of dealing with internal stakeholders, managing Excel sheets, etc. Okay, and it was more of a managerial role rather than a technical R&D types role. Okay,
Mhm.
so I realized then that the skill sets that this probably looks at is not being served by an engineering degree. Obviously, an engineering degree teaches you a lot of analytics, teaches you a lot of a lot of rigor, etc. But tangible skills were not kind of being used. And I saw a lot of my friends, a lot of my peers who were MBA grads, right? and who were in those top roles, and I kind of realized that okay, so probably doing an MBA would help me to learn XYZ, which I see that these are the skill sets these guys possess, and it would probably help me learn these skills and probably reach that position. So then in my mind I was kind of clear that okay, MBA is the next route. So I am grateful for that 1 year I worked there, because that kind of gave me that clarity that okay, this is what I want to do. Now when I joined MBA, I saw a few of my seniors, in fact a batchmate of mine, joining a job in consulting, right? And then I realized that okay, this seems interesting, he is doing this, so okay, probably that is the next step, right? And you kind of talk with more people, you kind of figure out. So what I'm saying is all of these experiences are important. So looking back, would I have joined MBA directly? I wouldn't. Like I in fact I appreciate the 1 year which I spent at ITC. So
Okay.
it ultimately depends on what you want.
All right. So according to you, like in fourth year, we'll obviously have to make a decision with respect to should we sit for placements or should I prepare for CAT? Like, do you think we can
You
do
should
both?
definitely sit for placements. You should
But
definitely sit for placements, and you should prepare for CAT if you wanna try that as an option. See, I'll tell you the reason why. In life, you should always have two options, right? You should have
Okay.
something to fall back on. The moment you don't have that something to fall back on, you are kind of stressed. So I'll tell you, I told you, right? So I didn't prepare amazingly well, right? Still, I got a 99.15. And I'll tell you the reason why I got it. Because I was under zero pressure. I slept like a baby the day before CAT. Because I already had a job offer, right? I knew that even if I screw this up, I have somewhere to go to. And you just have to ensure that this doesn't make you complacent, right? So this needs to push you. That it removes the fear of screwing up, which in a way improves your performance. That is how it worked for me. So the moment, and I got placed, I think on September 18th to be exact, and I remember the date. Why? Because I was super stressed till that day. The moment that happened, from the next day, I was just calm. I mean, I can't explain how calm I was, right? So, and I knew that, okay, bus. So now I can completely relax. I don't need to focus on job interviews. I don't need to focus on, brushing up my prep every time before an interview. Now I can just focus on this exam, which I want to give.
Okay. So no, but my main question is if you look at these statistics and the trends, it's a bit more like, companies take CS grads or like IT grads rather than mechanical or like civil, etc. So like those
I'm not sure how it's like now, but at least in my time, like if you were a decent student in mechanical, you had a lot of core jobs, you had a lot of options, right?
Okay.
So like I remember, I sat for what? I sat for ZS. I had all of those jobs. Like I had already converted those mass companies, the mass recruiters, right?
Okay.
And post that, I had interviews lined up for Hyundai, for Maruti, and for ITC. Right? I remember that. And from what I've heard, I think you guys are now eligible to sit for CS companies as well, right?
To the best of my knowledge, no, they say no mech grads. Yeah.
Okay. Because I think I had heard in between that you had to give these exams, the ones which are conducted by your these training agencies, and I think if you clear them to some extent you can. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I guess it's only for a few companies, not for like all of them.
Okay. See, I think I'm sure there would be a lot of companies which are coming. I mean, not probably a lot per se, but if you are a decent performer in a batch, you would have opportunities. But yes, you should prepare for CAT, but you shouldn't take this decision as to I won't sit for placements. I think you should definitely sit for placements. Right? That's a big call to make. What if now imagine what happens if say you screw up CAT, right? If you don't get an admit, then you're forced to take an admit in probably a subpar college where you wouldn't probably have chosen, right? Had you even had a job from say a Wipro or say an Accenture or a Cognizant per se, right? So if you had that job offer, you probably would have still had a backup option that okay, I'll work for a year or for a year or two. I'll gain some exposure and then I'll try again. You would have had that backup. But had you chosen to not sit for placements, you have zero backup.
Okay. My last question to you would be like, IIMs obviously have their brand value and everything. Now, suppose a
Yeah.
student isn't able to clear IIMs. Should he go for other colleges like XLRI, FMT, SPGEM, or like should he take a drop?
Definitely. I mean, this is a very tough question to answer,
Like
right?
mainly,
This completely.
let's take the black eye as IIMs are called. Like those six IIMs have an edge over the other institutes. Is it worth taking a drop year for?
I would definitely say ABC has an edge over other institutes.
Mhm.
But does it matter? I would say it matters initially. It would matter in your first year, probably, like when you're getting a job. It doesn't matter in the long term, because ultimately what matters is your ability to cope, is your ability to work hard and all of this. And IIM does not guarantee you success for the rest of your life. It is just a stepping stone.
Mhm.
That being said, personally, I work at Bain. I've seen people, and Bain hires. In fact, they and all of these companies, they've expanded hiring. So now Bain hires from FMS, they hire from SPGen, they hire from XLRI. Similarly for BCG, similarly for McKinsey, similarly for all of the top companies, right? They
Mhm.
hire from all of these colleges. Probably the numbers they hire are different, but
Okay.
they do hire. So in no way would I say that all of these colleges are inferior per se. But definitely,
Okay.
like being an Ahmedabad graduate, I would definitely say that the peer group. I think the peer group is the most important part. The peer group you get exposure to is different, right?
Mhm.
And that kind of drives you, and that kind of gives you motivation, etc.
Mhm. All right. Is it possible for us to get internship at Bain? Just like a side note.
I don't think so. Like they have a very like proper hiring process, and I think they
Mhm.
only go to a few IITs, not even to all of the IITs. I think they only
Okay.
go to IIT Delhi and one or two more IITs.
Mhm.
So I don't think so, to be very honest. But that being said, I think so. At least in my batch,
Mhm.
there was this one guy who had done internships, and I think it depends on the connections which you can make. Not
Okay.
like connections with me, because I'm a very junior guy, but
Mhm.
connections with senior people. And if you have and by connections I don't mean a backdoor entry of sorts, but I mean really like forming a strong network,
Mhm.
and being able to being able to have those conversations and show them that you're deserving of this opportunity. So I think
Okay.
networking definitely helps, right?
All
So
right.
for example, if you reach out via LinkedIn, you can reach out to anybody and everybody, right? And
Mhm.
if they reply to you, good. If they don't, then it's okay. But you can definitely reach out. So I think that helps.
That's it, Anik. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for taking your time.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Thanks, Worship, for having me.
yeah. All right. Thank you, Anik.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.